Los Angeles, the city of dreamers and predators. In a place where money dictated everything, Sterling Enterprises stood tall as a monument of power. But inside the CEO's top-floor office, Leon Sterling felt that power slipping through his fingers. He stood motionless before the floor-to-ceiling window, his sharp gaze scanning the city that never slept. At 36, he had everything most men could only dream of: a financial empire, unmatched prestige, and a fortune that could buy entire cities. But none of it had ever brought him peace. Because a year ago, he lost everything. The woman he had once loved, the one he had trusted without hesitation, had betrayed him in the cruelest way. Not only had she been unfaithful, but she had also sold out Sterling Enterprises, leaking confidential business secrets to his rival. That night, when he stepped into that hotel room and saw his wife in another man's arms, something inside him shattered beyond repair. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the realization that love, loyalty, trust, they were all illusions people created to fool themselves. From that night on, Leon Sterling no longer believed in love. He became cold, closed off, and focused only on one thing: his company. But even that was now under threat. On his desk lay a document filled with ruthless terms, a directive from the board of directors. If you do not marry and produce an heir within 2 years, you will lose control of the company. Leon's jaw tightened. They wanted to control him. His divorce had weakened his standing, and now they were exploiting that weakness to force him into another marriage. One built not on love, but on contracts and power. A knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. Derek Cole, his personal attorney and the only friend he still trusted, stepped inside. Without a word, he placed a folder on the desk. "They're serious, Leon," Derek said, his voice firm. "If you want to keep this company, you need a plan." Leon slowly lowered his gaze to the bold letters stamped across the folder. Marriage contract. An infuriating solution, but the only one he had. He flipped the folder open, skimming over the unyielding legal terms, and then a name caught his attention. Jennifer Cole, 27 years old, financial analyst. Derek folded his arms. "She's brilliant, competent, and most importantly, she needs money." Leon leaned back in his chair, his fingers tapping against the desk. A woman with intelligence and independence, but burdened by crippling medical debt as she struggled to care for her ailing mother. A perfect candidate. But Leon Sterling didn't believe in perfection. He shut the folder, his voice devoid of emotion. Set up the meeting. Jennifer Cole never imagined she'd be sitting in the waiting lounge of Sterling Enterprises, much less that her life was about to change in ways she couldn't begin to comprehend. She smoothed out the worn fabric of her blazer, forcing herself to remain composed despite the dampness in her palms. A job interview at one of the biggest financial firms in California? Any financial analyst would kill for this opportunity. Yet, something felt off. She had never applied for a position here. The heavy wooden door swung open. A poised assistant stepped out, nodding at her. "Mr. Sterling will see you now." That name alone was enough to make her stomach tighten. Leon Sterling, the infamous brain of Wall Street, a man who could build an empire with a single deal or destroy one with a single sentence. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside the vast office. Leon Sterling sat behind a polished mahogany desk, his piercing gaze stripping away whatever defenses she had left. There was no small talk, no inquiries about her credentials. His first words were cold, calculated. "You need money, I need a wife, we can help each other." Jennifer blinked. For a moment, she thought she had misheard him, but his expression held no trace of humor. "Excuse me?" Her voice dropped slightly, laced with caution. Leon slid a document across the desk. "A marriage contract. 2 years. You will play the role of my perfect wife in front of the board, and then," he paused, his eyes darkening, "we will have a child." A chill ran down Jennifer's spine. "So? You're buying a wife. A mother for your heir." She let out a hollow laugh. "I'm sorry, but I'm not for sale." She pushed back her chair, ready to walk out, but Leon's voice stopped her in her tracks. "Your mother is in the hospital, isn't she?" Her hand froze on the door handle. Slowly, she turned back, her eyes sharp. "You investigated me?" Leon didn't deny it. "I don't make random choices. I need someone intelligent, someone who can survive in my world, and you," he leaned forward slightly, "you need a way out." Jennifer clenched her fists. She hated that he was right. Her mother needed surgery, one that would cost more money than Jennifer could ever earn in a lifetime. She had tried everything. Loans, extra shifts, every possible option. But time was running out. Her gaze flickered to the contract on the desk. One signature could change everything. She could walk away and keep her pride, or she could save her mother. There was no choice at all. Slowly, she sat back down, her eyes locked onto Leon's. "I have my own conditions." Leon smirked, as if he had known all along that she would say yes. "Good, you have 5 minutes to name them." And just like that, the most dangerous deal of their lives began. Their wedding was a spectacle of luxury, held at one of Los Angeles' most extravagant hotels, bathed in golden lights and hollow congratulations. Jennifer wore the perfect white gown, walking beside a man she barely knew but was now legally bound to. To the world, they were flawless, but behind closed doors, they were nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion. The murmurs of admiration, the rehearsed smiles, it was all an act. When Leon pressed a light kiss to her forehead before the hundreds of guests in attendance, Jennifer smiled as if it were the most natural thing in the world. But they both knew the truth. This was just part of the contract. After the reception, when the door to their penthouse suite closed behind them, they stood apart, an unspoken distance stretching between them. No warmth, no whispered promises of forever. Leon loosened his tie, poured himself a drink, and looked at her with the same unreadable expression. "We'll share a home, but we won't interfere in each other's lives." His tone was as clinical as a business transaction. Jennifer nodded. "That's exactly what I want." But life rarely followed contracts. Despite their attempts to keep their distance, Leon soon realized that Jennifer was unlike any woman he had ever met. She wasn't interested in his wealth, nor did she try to charm him like the countless women before her. She wasn't intimidated by his power, nor was she in awe of his reputation. She simply existed in his world but never let it define her. They often debated over business matters, and yet he never found himself irritated with her presence. She was sharp, relentless, and never backed down from him. But there were moments, rare and fleeting, when he caught her lost in thought late at night, the glow of her desk lamp highlighting the quiet determination in her eyes. And in those moments, he wondered if he had misjudged her. Then came the night in Chicago. A business trip gone routine, a return to their hotel until the elevator malfunctioned, trapping them between the 40th and 41st floors. With no immediate maintenance response and no one else in the confined space, the silence between them grew heavier. Jennifer leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Looks like we'll be here a while." Leon said nothing. A minute passed, then 5. Then, unexpectedly, he broke the silence. "Do you believe in love?" His voice was low, but it carried weight. Jennifer raised a brow, surprised. "Maybe, but I've never experienced it enough to be sure." Leon let out a quiet laugh, one devoid of amusement. "I did, and it was the biggest mistake of my life." For the first time, Leon talked about his past. And for the first time in years, someone truly listened. Leon had always believed he couldn't be hurt again. He had built his walls high, convinced himself that nothing could shake him. And in this marriage, he thought he had control over everything. But in a single night, it all crumbled. The article exploded across financial headlines and social media, spreading like wildfire. Sterling CEO's contract marriage exposed. His wife was just a business deal. They called Jennifer a gold digger, a pawn in the corporate chess game of Sterling Enterprises. They dragged Leon's past into it, comparing Jennifer to his ex-wife, claiming history was repeating itself. Leon read every word, his grip tightening around the newspaper until his knuckles turned white. Someone had betrayed him, and the only person who could have was Jennifer. He stormed into her office, the door slamming open so hard that the documents on her desk trembled. Jennifer looked up just in time to see the fire in his eyes. Not the cold indifference she was used to, but something far worse. Anger. Disappointment. He threw the newspaper onto her desk. "Explain this." Jennifer barely glanced at the headline before meeting his gaze. "You think I did this?" "Who else could it be?" His voice was sharp, slicing through the air like a blade. "Only we knew about this contract, no one else. You sold this information to the press, didn't you?" Something inside Jennifer twisted, not because of the accusation, but because of the undeniable truth in his eyes. He actually believed it. "I never betrayed you." Her voice was quiet but unwavering. Leon let out a hollow laugh. "I trusted you, Jennifer. I let you in. I let you get close, but in the end, you proved that I was a fool to believe in you. You were just in it for the money." She inhaled sharply, forcing herself to stay calm despite the storm raging inside her. She shook her head, slowly but firmly. "If you can't trust me, then this contract means nothing." She walked over to his desk, opened the drawer, and pulled out the original marriage contract. Without a second's hesitation, she ripped it in half. "I'm done." Leon didn't move as she brushed past him, each step she took cutting deeper than he wanted to admit. The door slammed shut behind her, leaving him alone in the suffocating silence of his office. He should have felt relieved. This was what he wanted, wasn't it? A marriage without emotions, a contract that could be ended at any time. Then why, as he watched her walk away, did it feel like he had just lost the most important thing in his life? Jennifer didn't look back, but as her hand instinctively rested on her stomach, a different kind of ache settled in her chest. She had planned to tell him. She had planned to tell him that she was pregnant. But now, it didn't matter anymore, because he had never believed in her. Inside the vast office of Sterling Enterprises, Leon Sterling sat motionless, his gaze hollow as he stared at the glowing screen before him. The torn marriage contract still lay on his desk, a cruel reminder of what he had just lost. Jennifer was gone, and for the first time in a long, long time, he felt an emptiness that nothing could fill. The door swung open, pulling him from his thoughts. Derek Cole strode inside, tossing a file onto the desk. "You need to see this." Leon barely lifted his eyes, saying nothing. "Jennifer didn't leak the story," Derek said, his voice low and sharp. "It was your ex-wife." Leon froze. "She orchestrated the entire thing," Derek continued. "She used her media connections to feed the press a fabricated story. Her goal was simple: to ruin you all over again." The air in the room turned ice cold. Leon felt anger rise within him, but this time it wasn't just directed at his ex-wife. It was at himself. What had he done? He had accused Jennifer without hesitation. He had looked her in the eye and told her she was only in it for the money, that he couldn't trust her, and she had walked away, her hand resting on her stomach, carrying a secret he had been too blind to see. She had been pregnant. Leon suddenly shot to his feet, his mind spiraling back to that night, when Jennifer's fingertips had traced the scars he never let anyone see, when her whispered laughter had filled the empty spaces in his soul. He had felt something real, something he had long convinced himself no longer existed, and yet he had destroyed it. He remembered the desperate kisses, the way she had clung to him as if he was the only thing keeping her grounded. He remembered waking up beside her, his arm draped over her waist, listening to the steady rhythm of her breathing. And he had destroyed it all. Without wasting another second, he grabbed his coat. "Where is she?" His voice was rough, strained. Derek's expression turned grim. Jennifer left the city. Leon felt his chest tighten, the weight of his mistakes crushing down on him. She was gone. But this time, he wouldn't let her slip away forever. He had to find her. And this time, he would not lose her again, no matter what it took. 3 weeks. That was how long Leon had spent searching for her. He had turned over every stone, used every connection, yet Jennifer had vanished from his world. And when he finally found her, it was in a place he never expected, a quiet little town outside San Francisco. Leon stepped out of his car, scanning the rows of small, modest houses. No skyscrapers, no lavish parties, just empty streets and the gentle scent of the ocean in the air. And then he saw her. Jennifer sat on the porch, one hand resting lightly on her stomach, her gaze lost in the distance. When she turned and saw him, time seemed to stretch endlessly between them. She didn't run to him. There were no tears of joy, only silence, heavy and unspoken. Leon moved forward, standing before her. "I was wrong." His voice was rough, as if the words themselves hurt to say. "I pushed you away when I should have fought for you." Jennifer didn't speak. Leon took a deep breath, then slowly sank to one knee. "I want to cancel the contract." He looked up at her, his eyes stripped of all pretense. "Not because it no longer matters, but because I don't need a contract to keep you. I need you." Jennifer stared at him for a long moment. She had waited for this. Not just an apology, but the raw honesty in his eyes. She placed a hand over her stomach, then whispered, "Leon, I'm pregnant." Leon froze. The world seemed to stop spinning. He looked at her, then at her hand protectively cradling the life they had created. A shaky breath left him, and then he reached out, touching her stomach gently, as if afraid the moment might slip away. He looked up at her, his blue eyes reflecting the dim streetlights, and in that instant he knew this was the woman he couldn't lose. Leon reached into his pocket, pulling out a ring. This time, it wasn't for the company, it wasn't for obligation, it was for love. "Marry me, not for a contract, not for anyone else, but because you want to." Jennifer bit her lip, tears slipping down her cheeks, but this time, she didn't walk away. She nodded, yes. And as Leon wrapped his arms around her, he knew, this time, he would never let her go again. 2 years had passed, but for Leon Sterling, every moment with Jennifer still felt like a miracle he never took for granted. Their lives were no longer dictated by contracts or conditions. They had built something real, a family. Sterling Cole was now nearly 2 years old, a bundle of energy with his mother's bright, intelligent eyes and his father's quiet, knowing smile. And tonight, Leon wanted to do something special. Inside their warm home, under the soft glow of candlelight, a small gathering took place. No extravagant ballrooms, no media frenzy, just the people who truly mattered. Derek, Jennifer's parents, a few close friends. As dinner came to an end, Leon rose to his feet, lifting his glass, his gaze resting on the woman who had changed his life. "There was a time I believed love was a luxury, something meant for others but never for me." His voice was steady, filled with emotion. "I had loved before, and I lost faith in it. I built walls around myself, thinking they would protect me, but in truth, they only left me lost." He paused, his eyes locking with Jennifer's. "And then you came into my life." The room grew quiet, the weight of his words settling over them. "You taught me that love isn't a risk, it's a gift." A small smile touched his lips. "You gave me a reason to believe in love again, and that is the greatest gift I have ever received." Leon turned slightly, picking up a small box from the table before stepping toward her. "So tonight, I want to give you something in return." He opened the box, revealing an elegant necklace with a brilliant sapphire pendant. "I once gave you a ring as a proposal, but this time I want you to have something that symbolizes what you have given me: light, warmth, and love." Jennifer bit her lip, tears glistening in her eyes as Leon gently clasped the necklace around her neck. She didn't need to say a word. The way her fingers lightly brushed his, the way she smiled, that was answer enough. And as the night deepened, as he held her close in the quiet of their home, Leon knew he had found the most important thing in his life. Not his company, not his power, but his family.